Welcome to the PlapCast.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the PlapCast. This is episode 3. I am Brewy, one of the writers on the squad. Some of my titles that I have worked on are the Caught series, Bookish, and most recently, My Nightingale. And with me today, I have Ruin, another writer on audios such as like Sugar and Hands-On Learning. And then we have the mother of Plappy herself, Manda. And our very special guest today is Adam Craves. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Can you give a little brief introduction of yourself? You know, Adam Craves on Quinn, stuff like that.
Sure. So my name is Adam Craves. I make erotic audios for Quinn currently. I've been doing it since May of this year. I think I have like 24-ish. I don't know how many, 20, 24, 25, something like that. And I try to do, I'm allowed to do 4. What do you want to get into? What do you want to know? I'm just a guy in the world trying to help people communicate better and turn people on.
Great. So you started back in April. How did you get into the space?
May. I don't know. I don't know how we got April. I mean, I specifically said May, but it's fine. It's fine.
Sorry.
Whatever. Tomato, April, whatever. How did I get into it? I had a friend who is a subscriber to Quinn, and she had mentioned it maybe a year or so ago, and she's like, "Oh, I think you'd be good at this. I think you could do this." And I was like, "I don't know what that is, and I don't know about that." And so I kind of put it off, and then I looked at it, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then I looked, for some reason it kept popping up in my mind, and I was like, well, maybe I'll give it a try. And so she's like, "Here, take a listen. This is what it's all about." And so I listened to like 1 or 2, just like not the whole thing, but I listened to like 1 or 2 of the stories here and there, and I was like, I think I could do this. And so I sent, I figured out, like I looked on the old Google and figured out how to audition for Quinn, and I like read their little thing, and then I sent in a little audition. And I heard back maybe like a week or 2. I didn't expect to hear back because I just figured they would be very busy. But I heard back, and they said, "Hey, we liked your recording. We'd love to I should go back and figure out like how this all went down." But I feel like I don't know if they gave me a like a trial run or like I guess like a callback or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
I can go back in my emails as we chit chat. But long story short, so they asked me if I wanted to do this, and then I did, and then here we go, audition follow up. "Hi, my name is blah blah blah. I run the content." I'm just going to go through this. "We loved your audition and think you could be a great fit. Next step, we'd like to they commissioned me for a second audition, so they paid me a little bit to actually make a full audio. And I did that. They gave me like some suggested scenarios, and I took one of those, and basically the first one I did, which was the therapist one, kind of turned out to be my first actual audio. I don't know if I went back and actually re-recorded that or not, but so I did that, and then they reached back out and they said, "Great, we'd like to give you a 6-month contract, and here's what we'll pay you, and you can do 4 a month." And that was it. And I kind of went from there. And I had no real idea what I was doing. For anybody who's actually listened to more than one, the first 6 sort of fell into this world that I created, but it was never an intention to do that. I thought it would be funny or entertaining to start to incorporate the characters back together. Like I did the first one, it was a therapist, and then like someone comes in because they're having some problems, and then the second one was roommates, and I thought that was like, oh, it would be interesting if like if the girl roommate was actually the girl who went to see the therapist, and then if Adam went to see his therapist. And so I did 3 of them, and then I was like, oh, but I'll do a part 2, and then I did a total of 6, and I was like, they became very meta. I don't know if you listened to all of them, but they became like very meta, where I was like stepping out as as the omniscient voice and like commenting on. It was kind of crazy, and then Quinn reached out and they're like, "Is this the only thing you're going to do?" I mean, it's fun, but it's hard for our audience to kind of jump into like the middle of a series and like understand like what's going on. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like a little nervous to just do something else.
It made me want to
And
go in and like listen to all of them because I was like, oh, this one came from this one, and then I would kind of like go down the rabbit hole of your your page and like listen to each
okay.
of them.
Well, I mean, that was the point, but I guess they were like, yeah, like, do we have any like one-offs? And so I just started to do other things, and I don't, to be quite honest, like somebody, because I have socials, somebody wrote to me and was asking a question about one of them, and my answer was, I have no idea, because I only really listen to them. I obviously make them, and then I'll go back. I don't listen to the whole thing. Like if there's a mess up or something, I'll edit that out. Or if I'll get feedback from Quinn that I have to like take something out or change something, like I'll go back and do that. But I don't listen to them nearly as much as my listeners listen to them, obviously. So they are more familiar with my work in a sense than I am. So when someone comments on something, I sometimes have to go back and be like, did I say that? That was
Oh,
weird.
you're not
Okay.
going to recognize any of these on the game.
Oh god.
Oh my goodness.
It's
So,
okay.
oh no, I mean, it's not like I don't know what I did, but it'll be interesting if you're asking about specific ones to go back. So yeah, that was basically it. And now I've done like a handful, or I guess two handfuls of them, and I know that people have asked me, like, commented on my writing and stuff like that. And for the majority of the ones that I've done, except for October's were all written, but everything else is all improv. So sometimes I'll have an idea. Sometimes, it'll percolate in my mind as I'm walking my dog or something, and I'll have a couple different ideas, and I'll kind of work on the ideas or the plots in my mind. If there's some specific things that need to be said, like I did one like called Private Lesson, which was about yoga, and I needed to like look up the Sanskrit words for some of the poses, and then practice them. And I made a mistake in one of those where I didn't take out the because I kept messing up these like
That was so
Padahana
funny.
Manapasanas or
That
whatever.
was so funny.
And when I get in, I mean, we're just kind of getting into it now. So when I recording and I make a mistake, I'm looking at, I use GarageBand, so I'm like looking at the sine wave as it goes across, which are like, for people who don't know, it's like, it looks like these up and down lines, and you can tell how loud things are and what's going on. And I'll do like a sound like that with my mouth to let me know, so I can go back and visually see where that little up is, or I'll go like that. So that'll tell me I can go back to that, and then I need to make an edit there. And I was messing up these words so bad, and I guess I forgot to go and
Edit those out.
finish one of them. People were like, "That was so cool that you left that in there," and it was like, and I was like, "Yeah, no, totally. It was definitely
So
on
intentional.
purpose." Yeah.
I
So,
thought it was hilarious. I just kept cracking up.
oh, thanks.
The fact that those 6 interconnected audios were all improv is extremely impressive.
Oh, it's very impressive.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So did you have
Yeah.
any voice acting experience before, Quinn?
I had done like a couple little things for like friends and stuff like that. I've always liked it. Like a friend of mine does like actual voiceover stuff, and so they have like a setup and a mic, and I talked to them about like what equipment I should get, and like they recommended what I should do, and I happened to have like a closet. I had like these 2 closets where I am in my office, and I was like, well, I can convert that into a sound booth, and yeah, so I converted that into a sound booth, and I got I don't know if you like care about like equipment or anything like that, but I got a Neumann T103 or TLM or something like that. I don't know. It's called 103, which is like a really nice microphone, and then I use basically it goes from the microphone to an interface, which is like a little box, so you can get a Scarlett or an Onyx or something, and then that gets plugged into your computer, and then you have something called a DAW, which is the actual program that you use, and you can use everything from like, I don't know, there's a bunch of different ones out there. I use GarageBand because it came with my computer, and it's like pretty simple, so it has everything I needed to do. But yeah, that was, and I asked about pointers about like how to use a mic and what to do and how to kind of set up, but it's been a lot of trial and error doing that. So I've learned so much, both technically and about this world and this community. I was not a part of this community at all. I didn't realize that there was like a whole like Reddit world where people just like submit this stuff. I didn't know what book talk was.
Oh no.
I'm gonna age myself here, but I wasn't really on the TikTok too much. But since I've created this this alter ego, I have a TikTok and I have an Instagram, and I'm currently and we're on Discord, obviously. But I'm putting together like a Patreon, and it just takes time to do these things, like in between this and like regular life.
Yeah.
So do you have like a wish list, like for dream equipment or anything like that? Like, is there like a
Dream
piece of
equipment.
yeah?
I mean, I guess it'd be cool to have like a real sound booth, but for now, like my closet works pretty well. I have like all these, I put videos in my TikTok and my Instagram up of like just me like closing the door and like, using my hands on my computer. But I think you can kind of see that like the whole thing is encased in sound blankets, and I bought actually these like acoustic foam panels that are all behind there. So it works really well. Like I compared it to my friends, and there's really no difference other than maybe the space. His is a little bit bigger, but
Yeah.
like this is fine. And I think the mic I have is a professional mic, so I'm feeling pretty good about
Yeah,
it.
you have a really good setup. I saw them on your Instagram. I was like, oh wow, he converted like his little closet into this like this whole thing. It's really cool.
Never tell a man his closet is
All
little.
right, I'm sorry.
It's a very average size
It's a
closet.
very average size.
Oh my God!
It's huge. It's the hugest closet
That's
I've ever
right.
seen.
It's the
Biggest
biggest
closet I've
closet you've
ever
ever seen.
So,
It's
You-
not, but just tell me it is.
what strikes your ideas when you go to record?
My inspiration is like, and this is again like it's a work in progress. So, I like to give not the illusion. I like to hint at things, right? I mean, obviously my work is pretty on the nose. Like it's very explicit towards the end, especially like towards the end and stuff. But I like to set, one of the things that Quinn said was like really like set the tone and the world in which the story takes place. And that was something I thought was really interesting. I mean, not to get like too personal, but like, I'm an adult, and I have engaged in like, text sex or sexting or like phone sex, with a partner.
Right.
And so, but that's not usually, that's not like, let me tell you a whole story and like, okay, you're at a reunion, and like it doesn't have sound effects.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what are you wearing? Take it off. Let's fucking play. And so it was a different challenge. And so I really enjoyed that. Like I'm really enjoying like creating the world for the listener and for myself too. It's a challenge. And so I guess to answer your question, like the inspiration was I just kind of toss stuff out there, and if it gets a rise from people, from this beautiful feral audience that's out there, then I am like, oh, okay, that worked. And so it's, people have responded positively to like basically like seeing my hands do something, like touching my computer, touching my sheets. Although TikTok does not like that for some reason. I was like, I gotta figure that out. I like posted a whole bunch, and they kept getting denied. So I don't know. I don't know
TikTok
why.
is
But
finicky about their.
it is. It's finicky about that. Yeah, and like I don't know how much I did post like one thirst trap picture, but I was like, I don't know if I want that to be, because that seemed more me than Adam, and I'm not sure. Like I know that there are VAs who post videos of themselves and have pictures of themselves, and I think that's great, to each their own. Part of the allure for me is that I can remain anonymous, and then also my listeners, like I can be whoever they want me to be. I can look however they want me to look, and I think that's part of this really interesting dynamic of telling a story, is that I don't know who's listening. All different types of people, mostly women, but there could be men, but also like somebody could be having a bad day and just want to feel like someone's there talking to them. It doesn't always, obviously, most of mine end in some sort of like sexual activity, but like I have received really beautiful messages from people saying like, you've helped me communicate better in my relationship. Thank you. Or I let my boyfriend or my husband listen to you and he's communicating better with me now. Or, you've helped me actually realize that this wasn't the right relationship for me and like get enough strength to like move on. And I just received this really, really beautiful message from a woman whose husband passed away. And she had been in grief for a long time. And it's a horrible thing to lose someone, that you have like spent your entire life with. And for her to reach out was a really nice thing. And then for her to say that like my audios have like lifted her spirits and made her laugh and made her feel alive again. When you go through grief, like the first thing that shuts down is like your sexual urge oftentimes, and it's hard to get that back.
Right.
I think it's really difficult to get that back sometimes. And through audio erotica in a really safe environment, I think that can be healing.
Right.
And so it was nice to get that sort of thing. It's an unexpected result of doing this. I was just like, I'm going to talk hot, and then maybe somebody will masturbate. And yeah, I did my job. But it's more than that, I think. And that's been interesting to me to realize that.
Yeah, no, that is so beautiful. I thank you for sharing that with us, because honestly, that's kind of why I wanted to start this podcast in the first place. Though it was this silly little thing that we had come up with. It's stories like that just kind of show the meaning behind audio erotica and what, like, the good that it can do. So thank you so much for what you do.
Absolutely.
I love your tenderness and how much love you are putting into this. Even though you kind of started like uneducated, you jumped into it with both feet and wanted to educate yourself. And you're a strong advocate for communication, and that is so, so important. So changing the tone a little bit. It
got heavy.
It did.
Sorry,
No, that's totally fine. No,
Whoa.
It did, but
Oh, it's okay.
that was beautiful. No,
That was my fault.
no, it's totally fine.
like
that was such a special moment for me. Thank
It's
you.
important to talk about this side of it, though.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's the
It
side
is-
of
it
it
is
nobody
important
really
to
wants
talk
to
about.
talk about.
Yeah, it is. And just to like put a button in it, it's like the ability for people to communicate what they're feeling, emotionally, sexually, whatever, to use words that, color what they're feeling and describe what they're feeling, I think is really important. And I think that I'm going to be like an uneducated generalization, but I think that women in general are better at that, or maybe more in touch with that, definitely more in touch with their feelings.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, I know that what I do, the majority of people who listen to it are women, or perhaps self-identifying, women. But one of my hopes is that I can help men to communicate better too, because it's been my experience that, especially earlier, like when I was with different, partners, and I was and different sort of things, I was realizing that the way that I was communicating, people were commenting on that. My partners were commenting on that, and they were saying how, oh wow, I've never been talked to like that, or no one's ever said that before, or like you seem to be very in touch with blah blah blah. And through talking to like friends and both women and men, it's become pretty apparent to me that there is like this sort of epidemic of young men who aren't communicating very well. And I don't even mean just sexually, I just mean like their emotions in general.
Yeah.
And I think we can see the repercussions of that from social media and like bullying and horrific things that happen in the US. At least that's where I'm based, in the US. So
Yeah.
and in this country, and violence and stuff, and how there's just a lot of men who don't have positive, healthy role models. I think there's a lot of unhealthy role models out there for men, very toxic masculinity, and these men gravitate towards that. These young men gravitate towards that because they think that is the way. They feel like that is the way to be. That is the way that they want to, people they want to emulate, because they've got a bunch of money, and they got cars and girls and blah blah blah. And from my little booth in my closet here, I want
Don't call it little.
to hopefully remind them. I'm allowed to call it little. You're not. Um, in my booth here, that there is another way, and it's actually the truth. There is a really powerful. There is power in being able to communicate and being in touch with your feelings. You are not weak in that respect. And the more that you are in touch with your feelings and your urges and desires, the healthier you are and the better relationships that you can have. So
Right. That's such
Anyway.
a good message. I feel bad because we were gonna do keep it lighthearted and do games and things, but
let's fucking keep it lighthearted. Let's fucking get into that shit, man.
but that was so that was just so well said. I loved that. I love.
Well, but like my
conversations.
audios, like I will toss in humor, and then we'll get really fucking dirty. So I like both of those things. I like the the humor, and I like
Yeah.
the dirtiness. So like, and we can do that in this podcast too.
Yeah, no, your balance of humor and also intimacy is just it's so fun. Like, you're the only creator that I know of that has really balanced that so perfectly, because intimacy has, it's got funny moments. It's got, moments that we don't take seriously all the time. So it's more realistic, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree, and it's sort of grounding too. Like humor is safe, and I think what I've learned is that, like, if you can, the best way to gain someone's trust is to kind of make them laugh in a way. Obviously, there's other things that gain trust, but at least in this dynamic, when I first started, it was really just me trying to entertain myself, because I'm alone in this booth, and I was like, oh, that'll be funny if I say that, or because I'm improvising stuff, I'm just sort of riffing, and stuff will come out. I think if I wrote it, it just wouldn't be as in the moment, and it might not have that sort of like off the cuff humor that I tend to toss in there. And then, I think that it's, I think being able to balance that is good. I've definitely have some comments where they're like, yeah, it was really funny, and then you get like really hot, and then you keep tossing in funny. Can you just like stick with hot, like when you get to the hot? Because like, these people were like, I was about to have an orgasm, and then you were like, oh, look at this, stupid, you tossing Brad and Janet, and I'm like laughing, and I'm like, damn it, So anyway,
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. So
Yeah, you keep doing your own unique thing. It's your world. We're just we're listening to it. We're just listening in.
it's my Adamverse. You're just visiting.
Yeah, it's your Adam.
Exactly.
So let's since this is my podcast, let's jump to something funny.
Improv game.
Yeah, improv game.
Okay. Okay.
So I will explain it now. So basically, Ruin here is going to offer you an adjective describing like a character's personality, and then Brewy will give you a job title. And then I have lines from your audios that was very fun to get. I was just going through all of your audios and just picking out like things that I thought were hilarious. So I wrote them down. Right. And then you get to.
You're like, yeah, sure you're doing research. What do you?
Yeah, that's what I.
What are you doing in that bathroom? What's going on in there? I'll be on in a second.
I was doing research. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have
the best kind of homework.
Yes, I was not complaining anyway. But so I have lines, and then you're going to perform, or you can add whatever you want to it, but that'll just kind of set the tone for how you get to say these lines to us. So
okay, easy.
Easy. All right. All right, Brewy and Ruin,
right.
Do you want to give him his adjective and his job title?
How about nervous?
Nervous, okay.
Let's do artist.
Artist, a nervous artist, okay.
Okay, so I guess I will. Yes,
mine?
I got it. All right.
Okay. This is a podcast. It's a podcast, so we have to use our
I
voices.
got it, Adam. Thank you. All right.
Sorry.
The line is, yeah, I didn't know what I was doing in high school. I probably wouldn't have known where your clit was and went straight for your belly button. Well, I've learned a few things since then. Thank you.
Nervous artist. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know where the I didn't know where the fuck I was doing in high school, so I probably wouldn't have known where your clit was, and then no, don't move. I'm trying to paint you. If you move, I can't. I have to start over. God damn it. Anyway, I didn't know where your clit was. I probably would have gone straight for the belly button. Well, I've learned a few things since then. So yeah. This is weird. Is this what we're doing?
No, that was perfect. That was exactly what I was.
was amazing.
Not to laugh the whole time.
Okay.
I was trying so hard not to laugh. Oh my god, that was perfect. Thank you.
What part of making audios would you say is like the hardest for you?
Because I improv my stuff, it's like the stories sort of percolate for a little while. I do sort of like when I sit down to do it, I'm usually like, oh God, okay. I hope this is gonna be good. I don't, I don't necessarily think of anything in the moment. Sometimes I'll jot down some notes, but once I like sit down, I turn the mic on, I put the headphones on, I kind of zero in, and sometimes I'll just close my eyes. As long as I have like one image or one scenario in the beginning, I can just sort of get into character and start to talk. And if, I can always edit it if I need to. I've started to add sound effects to it, but not too many, just like sort of hints here and there to either create like an environment or create the illusion of something. Like in the last one, I put like some, more like sexy sounds, but for me, like I don't want to overdo it. It's really about me telling the story. It's not about like hearing that kind of sound all the time. So if there is a sound, for instance, if it's a slap or if it's a whatever, it might come up in the beginning and then it might fade out, even though that particular act is still happening. So I did this series called In My Dreams, or In My Dreams? I don't know. And that was like, I thought it was cool. Like what helps me also, cause like if I'm doing 4 a month, like I have a list of different things that I've kind of created, and I love Halloween, and I thought it would be really cool to do like a whole sort of Halloween series. And I had been thinking about this, and I had seen Nosferatu, like the movie, a couple months ago, and I just thought it would be fun to do. And I've always liked like vampires and werewolves and stuff like that. And so that story was, I had to write a lot of that down because it was like Victorian age, and it was there was like a lot of plot to it, and that took a lot of time. But there's nothing that I like all this stuff. It's fun. It's fun to be creative. So yeah, there's nothing I'm like, oh, that was horrible.
Yeah, your Halloween series was absolutely fantastic. It was so different
Thank you.
from like other creators, because obviously you kind of make your own world by yourself. You don't really have a lot of like collaborators and things, so it's very immersive. I really loved it. Did you do all of your sound effects work in those as well?
Yeah, I did everything.
That's
So what I started to do in that, what I hadn't done before, is like I just was like using actual sound effects. So like there's a bunch of sites that you can like download free sound effects. And so what I'll do is like I'll record the whole voiceover, I'll go and I'll edit the voice stuff, take out like any like blips or bleeps or whatever, and then start to layer in the sound effects. And if you listen to all 3 of them, you can kind of hear like the third one, I have a lot more sound effects. And the thing for me is just getting it in on time, because you can drop twice a week. So you can drop on Tuesdays or Fridays. You have to have your audio in by Monday at, I think, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock Eastern, maybe? I don't know. But I'm like, getting it in just under the wire a couple times. And so, and then, if they give back feedback, so sometimes you'll get feedback in terms of like, technically like the loudness of it needs to be within a certain range, or if there's something that I said that either, that they didn't want in there, or just to clarify something or whatever, I have to go back and edit that stuff. And so that can take a little bit of time. I'm trying to get it in on time. So I'm trying to treat this more like an actual job now, in terms of like I have like my workflow, and I have a list of different stories that I can do, and like what I'm going to do, and if I plan on doing like any kind of series, or if I'm just doing like one-offs. Some of them are going to have nothing to do with what's happening like in the world, and some of them might have like Christmas is coming up, right? The holiday season. So I'm sure that there's going to be like one or two that relate to that in some way. That has sort of been like sitting in my mind. But sometimes, honestly, sometimes I have no idea, and I'll just sit down and I'll just like open my mouth and just
Word vomit.
start to go. Yeah, yeah, literally, yeah. And if something happens, I put out on my TikTok and my Instagram, I was like, give me some ideas for stories, and I got a lot of really great feedback. And then, my last two have had nothing to do with what anybody put out there. Not because I didn't want to use them, just because they've been in my mind, like a scenario. Like I'll go throughout the day, and if I see something or if something happens, I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Or like sometimes it can just be a word or an image or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love your creative spirit, because a lot of VAs will source writers and get other people to edit their audios and all that. So you do everything like yourself, and that's just so cool to me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of VAs really struggle with that, because they're as you said, they're trying to get things in on time, and they're also trying to balance like their actual work life and then this on the side, because a lot of it is usually like a hobby. So yeah, no,
Right.
that is so cool to me that you're able to do all of that just by yourself. And you said you do all this in GarageBand?
Yeah. I do it in GarageBand. I looked at some other ones like what is it, like Logic Pro and Pro Tools and stuff like that. But it's like those are very involved programs, and I'm just not at that level.
Yeah.
And with GarageBand, like I've used it before for other things, so I kind of like knew sort of how to use it. And in terms of like what I need, all I really need to be able to do is like edit, like make a cut, make an edit, and then toss in some different layers of sound effects, and I can do all of that stuff in GarageBand. It's pretty easy.
What do you use for your...
But like,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I know. So people have asked me if I listen to other artists, and I really only listen to them like right in the beginning to get an idea. And I did listen to, like, I've listened to Naudio like once or twice, not the whole thing, because I'm not really, I don't need to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
But from what I've listened to, like he's really, really good, like
Yeah.
at the sound effects and the engineering of it. So I don't know anything about him, but I'm guessing that he has a lot of experience like with like audio engineering, because his stuff is super great. So yeah, the reason I don't listen to other people's, I just don't want to be influenced by anyone.
Right.
Like I am kind of like a sponge. Like if I hear somebody doing something, I don't want it to like subconsciously work its way into my stuff. Like I want my stuff to be my stuff, and I don't want to ever be accused of like using somebody else's, whatever.
Right.
I mean, in the end, it all ends the same way, more or less. But, it's how you get there on the journey. And so I'm working on creating like this library for myself, and for me, it's like I'm developing as an artist as I go along.
So how do you make your sound effects? Like, do you perform all of your more sexual sound effects yourself as well?
Yeah, so I do everything except for like if it's obvious, like a crowd or a door
Well,
closing.
yeah.
I'll download that kind of stuff. But if you're talking about like naughty stuff, it's usually like, I mean, I have a whole team that comes in this closet with me, and we really go to town. We've got a videographer, we've got fluffers. It's great. No, it's just me making sounds. I haven't done a lot of like the wet sounds, like the actual. I mean, am I allowed to say stuff on this?
Yes, you
Okay.
can say.
So I haven't made like a lot of like sexual intercourse sounds. There might be like a slapping sound, which is literally just me like hitting my arm. And then when I first started out, I was making a lot of like mouth sounds, like to simulate oral sex.
Right.
And I did see like some people were like, okay, easy on the mouth sounds there, buddy. And so I got kind of insecure, and I was just like then describing it, which is a good challenge to just like keep describing something. Like how many different ways can you describe like oral sex? And I'm always kind of finding new ways, but it also helps me as a communicator. And like, again, this kind of goes back to like educating. Like I'm not saying that I know everything. I'm saying that I'm very open to learning stuff. And I think, especially for young men, like they learn from watching porn.
Right.
And I certainly learned, back in the day. I'm going to age myself now, but
Back in the day.
um, when I as I was growing up and I started to become get in, become a more sexual person, and develop in that respect, like I did not have the internet. Like the internet had not been developed yet, or created yet. We had to, like, go look at magazines or steal a video from like your friend's dad. And so, it was a lot slower back then, but like, to be quite honest, like I feel kind of sad for like the youth
Yeah.
of this time, because there was something fun about it. Like there was something like, you go over to your best friend's house and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then you leave and then you like go into his parents' room and you're like rummaging through to like find some like one VHS tape. Cause you're like, I know this guy's got a porn in here somewhere. Or like your friend's older brother has one and gives it to you, and it's like you covet it. It's like it's yours, and you watch
my
it over
precious.
and over and over again. Yeah, my precious. Yes, exactly, and and it changed me. But now it's everywhere, right? It's just pervasive, and so how do you? One, it's just a lot, and like younger. I'll use the word kids, but I'm like
Young adult. Yeah.
kids who are becoming adults. But I mean, even younger kids. I'm not saying that they should be doing that, but like unfortunately,
Yeah.
a lot of them have access to it,
Yeah.
and I don't know what that does to them in terms of developing. But I do know if they're watching like hardcore porn, they are certainly not learning about aftercare.
Right.
They're certainly not learning about like safe words, and they're certainly not learning about like it's a give and take. It's not just the guy who's like getting off. It's like you should take pleasure in your partner's pleasure,
Right.
and you should ask them what they want. And you should sometimes what they want is not what you want. And to be able to communicate that, and to be able to say no, and to be able to say, is this what you like? Right? Because not everybody likes the same thing. Everybody is very, very different in where they like to be touched and how they like to be aroused and talked to. And so all of those things come with experience and come with learning. It's something that for both men and women, or females and males, like as you're developing, as you're growing up and you're having these experiences, these life experiences, like, I would imagine, I know I did. I watched, some porn, and then like the first time when I lost my virginity, I was like, okay, this might be the only time I'm ever going to have sex. So I'm going to do this position and this position and this position. And I was just had a list of everything. And, and
You
it
get an
was,
itinerary for your
I had
sex date.
oh, I really did. I totally did. My parents had gone out, and I had like the night to myself, and I made a fire, and I had like music playing. It was very romantic because I had a girlfriend, and she was actually not a virgin. I was a virgin. But I had like a whole list just in case this was the only time that I got to do it.
Oh,
And
that's so
I
cute.
think that, yeah. And I think, sorry, Mom and Dad, it happened in the living room. But it was, I learned from that. And then, I talked to my friends, obviously, and was like, this was what happened. And, but what I didn't learn was like how to communicate. I didn't learn like to ask, like, is this good for you? Or like, do you like to be touched here or licked here? I certainly didn't understand the female anatomy very well when I first started. So,
Right.
Understanding where things are, and understanding like what to do, and just in terms of like not protocol, but like washing of your hands after you touch someone on their ass or something, and not putting it
Right.
inside. Like you should not do that kind of thing. And that's stuff that like it's not, I don't know if they teach that
No.
in like sex
No.
ed.
No,
There's so many
not at
things.
all.
There's
They
so
don't.
many things
You
that
know,
they don't
and-
teach.
Yeah, and like for for a younger woman, to be able to voice those sorts of things, it's powerful, but it can be really intimidating, because you might not want to like make the person that you're with feel weird,
Right.
or you're not in your power yet at a younger age. And for a guy, especially like a younger man who is insecure about that kind of stuff, to be told that they're doing it wrong, or that that's not right, can you do it this way? I think a lot of young men might be like, feel insecure about that,
Yep.
and feel like I've done something wrong, and then be embarrassed by that, instead of being open to, I'm not saying everybody, because there's certainly people who are like good communicators, but like the, the negative part is like to be embarrassed, and then to not want to communicate at all, or to be like, I'm not going to talk about that thing that happened, because I don't want to feel embarrassed. I don't want to feel like I'm wrong about this. Like I should know, how to have sex because I'm a guy. And the answer is, I'm still learning.
Right.
I'm still learning, and I make some money off of doing this and describing stuff, and I've had really positive feedback, and I'm still learning. So there's a lot to learn.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I'm just kind of inspired by your story, because I mean, you're right. I'm young adults. I mean, because I am a young adult, and in my relationship as well, we had, like a educating period. Like there were moments that even me, like as a woman myself, there was a lot of things I didn't know about myself either until audio erotica, and just honestly social media in general, because I had no earthly idea like about a lot of things. Like I didn't know all of the different ways that women can have an orgasm, and like all of these different things. So it was just it's interesting to me that like sex ed leaves that part out. Like it's very, very vague whenever you learn about sex in general. So honestly, I'm glad that people are becoming more educated. I just hope it gets like pushed more to do like the young adults and all that jazz. Honestly, make 2 sex ed classes. Like it's
Yeah, I mean, there's procreating, there's like how babies are made,
right.
and then there's like, but like, we're not trying to make babies all the time. We're
Right.
trying to have fun and explore each other, and share love, and share intimacy, and share, hot, like exciting, self-exploration moments.
Right.
And so I think that's, there, and this is a bigger conversation, but it's also a bigger idea. But like, sex ed is probably influenced by the dogma of just general, like religion in a sense, and like there are certain
Yeah.
religions that just don't, there's a lot of sinning going on, in terms of like, you're a sinner because you had those thoughts. You should feel guilty because you had those thoughts, and how people are raised to feel like sex is a sin, and to have these thoughts is a sin, or to feel guilty for having these thoughts, when we are all very, very human. And then when you work that into like the curriculum of sex ed, and it's almost like, okay, well, what about pleasure? What about self-exploration? And they're like, well, you can masturbate. Okay, we're not going to talk about that, but you just, you masturbate, and this is a clitoris, and these are the gonads, and this, and you're like, yeah, but like, what about all of these things? And that's why I think that, like audio erotica can be really helpful. Like you said, like exploring things that you just had no idea. I mean, there's like, okay, like, where do I like to be touched? But also like, oh, like role play, or
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I was more dominant in this situation, or more submissive in this situation. And like you said, when you get into a relationship, every relationship in the beginning is a learning experience. And not only are you like, do you like dogs or cats? But you're like, oh, how do you like to be talked to? How do you like to be touched? And bringing that stuff up can be really, not nerve-wracking, but like, you're like, I don't know how thank you, intimidating. It can be like, I don't know how they're going to respond
Right.
to that thing. Because when we get down to it, like real sexuality, and I do some of my audios are like this, but it's like, they're very, very personal. Like sexuality is so incredibly personal, and it can, how sexuality manifests in people is, you can write, obviously there have been books written on this, but a lot of it has to do with like how we were raised, what experiences we had, positive or negative, and then how we decide to react to those experiences. So someone could have had like a very negative experience, for instance, when they were younger, and they might have this fetish all of a sudden for some reason, like in their young adult or even adult life where they just can't. They're like, that turns me on, and I don't know why, because that thing happened to me, or I witnessed that thing when I was younger. It doesn't make any sense. But for me, the way I think about it is like sexuality can be a way to heal trauma, and it can be a way to take control of the complete, utter, uncontrollable thing that might have happened to oneself, and to gain like a confidence and to gain healing and love for yourself, that I don't think, people who were raised in like a very dogmatic world feel comfortable in. And I don't think that like regular like sex ed feels comfortable teaching that kind of thing, because it's a really beautiful thing, but you really have to get down to it. You really have to be like, okay, why do I like to be called little girl? Why do I like to be called little boy? Why do I feel like, being very dominant with this one person and very submissive with this other person? Or like, why do I think it's disgusting to like hear those words, or like anything, like, one size doesn't fit all. And I think that there's a real beauty to exploring those things in a safe environment.
Sorry, I'm such a nerd. I love hearing that, because I'm a psychology major, so I absolutely like love like having these conversations. But we should probably go back to the game and actually doing silly things.
To the game.
Yeah.
Lighten things up just a little bit. Your adjective is going to be guilty.
Guilty. Okay.
Okay, what's the line? I can pick a good one.
And do I have a
We're gonna go professor.
A guilty professor.
Guilty
Do you want me to read the line? Do you want me to read the line out for you before you say it?
No, let me just go into it. Let me read the line to myself real quick. Okay. Okay. So the reason you're here today is because I heard you. Oh, this is hard to say. You don't know how to suck a cock. I'm not going to tell you where I heard it from. Okay, fine, it was Janet, that fucking bitch. But I called you in here because I don't want you to fail this class. I want you to succeed, and I would really like to tutor you and make sure that you, when you take the test, of course, that you are really, you're really getting an A+ in this cocksucking class. So weird. That's the sex ed class we all need, right?
Yeah.
Fuck Janet. What the hell?
God, Janet.
She's gotten fucked quite a few times. She's doing just fine.
Word. So, your moniker, Adam Craves. What made you pick Adam or Craves?
I wanted to kind of be like the first name that you see, so Adam first, the first man. And Craves, I don't know. I just kind of like, I feel like it's a good, I don't know. It just sounded good. And like, when we were, when you're younger, and you're like, oh, what's your porn name? It's your street, and it's like the first letter of your second dog's last name or something. And I feel like I think that Craves was part of my like porn name. And it's also just like, what Adam wants. Like, what does Adam really crave? And I like it. And then like when I started getting people listening to me, someone said something about like cravers, and I was like, oh, that's fun. Like my listeners could be cravers.
That's so cute.
That'd be so cute.
I'm building on that.
Aww.
Just like, it's like, are you like a, like a deadhead or a fish head or,
A craver.
A craver.
craver.
That's so
Yeah.
cute. I love that.
Craver. So
I was curious, have you done any collaborations with other voice actors?
I have not. No.
If-
I've done one collaboration with a writer, K Rose, and that was like the tarot thing that came out. But I have not actually worked with any other voice actors. I don't. So I'm trying to think of a scenario where that would work. I mean, I guess it would be a threesome if it's like another dude.
They have like little like things where like you could be like the bartender in the background of the script, and you and the speaker go back and forth for a second, and then it goes back to the
Oh,
regular audio. Or you could do a Paris audio. You could totally do a threesome audio if you
did you say
wanted to.
a Paris audio?
Sorry, yes, because the Eiffel Tower, Paris.
Oh my God, I'm so
The
stupid. Okay.
I didn't catch on to that either.
What is that? Oui. Hello. Come over and suck my cock. What are you doing? Oh my God. I'm
No,
stuck
I'm
in the
sorry.
Jews.
Oh my
I've
god.
gotten so used to calling it to just referring to it as Paris and nothing else. I'm referring to the Eiffel Tower position. I'm sorry.
Paris. Come on, Adam.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, catch up.
There's a lot of like high fives going on in that position, right? I guess so. I don't know if that's me yet. I'm obviously it would maybe be hotter for listeners to like hear two voices, but it would have to be a creator that has been around for a while and has like a really good following. I've no interest in doing it with like a new creator,
Right.
just because I'm doing fine.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That segues us into the third round of the game.
Oh god.
Ding.
Oh god.
Okay.
I remember this.
Your adjective is excited.
Oh great.
Wait, I said
Yes, it was so funny.
Yes.
I
this?
died.
What audio is that in?
Let me get my sources real quick.
That is a hilarious. That's dear Lord.
I died.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I go into like this little world in my mind, and I could not have written this. Only I must be channeling someone here.
You were channeling, I think.
What audio was this?
Oh god, I'll have to go back and look.
Okay, so what is the word? Excited?
Yes, excited.
And then let's do Rockstar.
excited rockstar.
Oh wow, okay. An excited rock star. Like a horny rock star, or just like an excited, I'm glad you came to the show rock star.
Oh my god, this is so cool. This is so fun.
my
Oh my
God.
god, I'm so happy to be here.
Okay.
Excited. There you
Enthusiastic.
go.
All right. What's up, Chicago? All right, okay. I can feel your little nipplettes all around the major nipple. You're like a performer like me, and you have all these performers around you like backup nipples. All right. And I can't believe I said I can feel. Let me read this just in case you can hear it. I can feel your little niplets around the major nipple. You're like a performer, and you have all these performers around you.
You started
like your
singing
backup
after
nipples.
that. You started singing after that. I forgot what song it was.
What the
You
fuck?
literally
Who is this
you
guy?
sang a little tune after that, and I was like, oh, he's so precious.
What was the song? You know the song I sang?
God, I'm so mad I don't remember. I should have written it down.
Yeah, there's some listener out there who knows exactly. Like, it was this one, damn it. I don't.
Throwing their phone.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the little bumps around the
Yes,
areola?
yes, that's
Is that
exactly
what-
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like around the areola, there's like these beautiful little bumps all around.
Niplets.
And
Niplets.
yes, we call them niplets. It's nipple and the niplets, and they're performing across the country. They actually have a stage show in Vegas. You can come see them. It's wonderful.
Sure, it's great.
Yeah, they're on tour.
While Amanda tries to figure out what audio that's from,
Yeah.
me and Brewy can jump into the listener questions.
Great.
Brewy, do you want to start us off with the first one?
Sure. This one comes from Chanel. She wanted to know, is there any trope that you want to do in your audios that you haven't done yet?
Is there any trope? Let me think here. I haven't really done friends. I mean, I guess I did the roommates. That was kind of friends to lovers. And I just did sort of like enemies to lovers, which was the reunion, which was fun to do.
Love that one.
For anyone who was wondering, I did have someone ask me if any of that actually happened to me. And just as a side note, I did actually have to use that like eye thing, that eye cleaner that you have in like a chemistry lab, because that actual situation happened. Like I went over and like put my face in front of a beaker instead of like wafting the molecules towards my face, and the whole thing blew up in my eye, and I had to use that. So, is there a trope? So I've had like I've been thinking sort of when we talk about like dogma, I've been thinking about like the church in a way, and I know it gets a really bad rap, but I wonder if it's sort of, I wonder if it would be hot if we did like a confessional, or if we did something with like, this is maybe too much, but like a priest and a nun. Is that too much? Is that weird?
That's not too much. I feel like a lot of us have been, like writer-wise, a lot of us write like the priest-esque sexual scripts, and then a lot of like VAs have done like the priest and confessor or the priest nun.
Yeah, here's the thing with like, in terms of like what I'm allowed to do, and because I don't listen to other VAs, I don't, maybe I can ask you, but like, I don't know how, what the extremes are within the world of Quinn. What I did know is like my second audio, I did the roommates thing, and it starts out with Adam pleasuring himself, talking to himself, like he thinks he's alone, and he's talking about his roommate who is wearing like a t-shirt and panties. And like many a man who has probably seen an attractive woman and then just gone home and masturbated. And I just want to preface this by saying like, you do that in your private life, you do not do that in public, and you do not, force that on anyone. But I'm sure that we have all had like, and women too, obviously, been like, God, that person was so hot, and they look so good in those pants, or they look so blah, blah, blah. And for that one, I think I got into like I bet she's trying to turn me on. I bet she would like if I did this, and if she did that. And I was just kind of riffing, and I got back a note that said like, you got to take this part out because it's non-consensual. And I was like, what? But they're not actually even doing it. It's like, I'm talking about it. It's talking, and then when she comes in, he's very embarrassed. And obviously it's consensual there. So I had to take out little parts because obviously we don't want to like, traumatize or trigger anyone. But in the same token, like I want to try to be true to like how someone might think. And so I certainly was not saying like, I think this should happen, and because this person is wearing this thing, they deserve to get that kind of thing. I absolutely 100% do not condone or agree with that. But I think in one's own fantasy world, that's okay. And I think because I was doing it in the fantasy world, I thought that was okay. But like, and rightly so, Quinn was like, yeah, we can't really have that. Like, it has to be consent. And so what I've started to do more of is like try to put consent in there a little earlier. So I'll either preface it by saying like, all right, does everybody have their safe word? Great, let's go. Or if it's something that I feel like needs to happen, like in the reunion, I was getting very dommy. And then I like kind of broke out of character, and I was like, "Oh, you don't have to if you don't want to."
Yes, it's on here.
But I
put it on there.
But it is interesting, and I'm trying to figure out. And again, like maybe I could talk to you offline, but like how like really dommy like audios get that consent. Like how do they establish that consent with the listener so they're not breaking character? Because I know that I do a lot of like funny stuff when I break out, but I would like to do some more dom stuff where it's just like there's not as many. There's, I'm not like making everyone laugh all the time. I'm like really, really serious. Like this is fucking serious, and get on your fucking blah, blah, blah. So, but I needed to be safe for the listener. So, and then I would always, putting in aftercare is, I think, a really good thing. I don't know if other VAs do that, but I think it's a really positive thing for listeners, especially going through like an experience like that.
Absolutely.
Sure. I know a lot of them do like a little aftercare bit at the end of their audio. Some are longer than others. But I think as far as you were saying, like you are still learning what the boundaries are for Quinn. I think they're good on most things. It's just no CNC and no knife play and no gun play.
It's just because I know that's, that borders on many people's like fantasy. So I wonder how that all works. Even if you have like a safe word or something like that. So, yeah. The other thing is like, because it's character, it's like, this has been a learning experience in terms of like what I'm comfortable with.
Right.
And like how much of my own personal experiences do I bring into this? And then like, am I comfortable being like I don't know what you call like that type of dom, but like a pleasure dom versus like that kind of dom. Like, am I comfortable doing that? I don't know. Do I even want to do that kind of stuff? Like, if there's a big demand for it, then probably, because this is also like a business, so I'm interested in like upping my numbers and upping my listeners. But I want to be able to give my listeners like what they want, while maintaining my own integrity and my own creative.
So the next one was from Misa. So
Take
she
two.
wanted to know what is something you learned about yourself while you've been on this audio erotica journey?
That's interesting. What have I learned about myself? I think I definitely learned like what things turn me on, or things that I find interesting. What, just to be clear, like I'm not actually, not to like burst anybody's bubble, but I'm not actually doing anything while I'm recording. Like I wouldn't personally be able to like be as communicative and tell the story as well if me was doing something.
Right.
So I've had a couple requests for a ramble,
Yeah.
and I was like, sure, but then I didn't know what that was, and then I have been educated. I don't think, I'm sure it would be hot, but I don't think that's a little too personal.
Right.
That's not really Adam doing that. That would be me, and this is for me like about. I know it's I don't want to sound like an arrogant. Not
No.
arrogant is the wrong word, but like it's still like art in a way, right? I'm telling a story, and so instead of like, that's a little bit too porny for me.
Right.
I think there could be like a creative way to do it. Once I figure it out, I might make that happen. But it's not just about like, hey, listen to me, just like jerk off or whatever. So I guess I don't know so much about like. Okay, so I've learned that I am a good communicator in this world. I thought I might be, but having told this many stories, I do realize that I can communicate in a good, open fashion. I think I've learned a lot about the community, and that there are just some wonderful people in the community, and that y'all are, a feral bunch of people out there
Nuh-uh.
in a good way, and what I thought was like too much, people were like, that was a little tame there, buddy. So I was like, okay. So where you lie within like this world is interesting, and like what your natural. I think if you do enough audios, you kind of start to see kind of where you live, and I'm finding kind of where I live within that world. So I don't know if that answers the question, but
Yeah.
And I think it's important too, like on the topic of authenticity, if you're doing an audio about something that you're not comfortable with, it's gonna kind of come across that way, and it's not gonna be as authentic
yeah,
and enjoyable as of an audio, because that's gonna kind of, even if it's not intentional, it's gonna come across uncomfortable and awkward.
yeah. Like when I did the I forgot what it's called, like the hangman tarot thing with the shibari. I was not familiar with shibari. I'd seen pictures and stuff, but I don't know how to fucking tie a rope like that. I think it's really interesting, and I think I might like learn to do that. I haven't, what's the best way to say this? I was uneducated in that respect. So for me to like do just like do like, I'm going to tie you up sort of thing, I learned from that. And if I was going to do something that I wasn't familiar with, like I would need to do research on that. Or if I need to do like if I need to be like really submissive in one thing, or if I need to be really dominant in one thing, like I would probably just do a little research in general, just because I might not be one way or the other in my normal life. And so I think it's, I do want to deliver like a genuine experience for the listener. And there are listeners out there who are much more educated than I am in these sorts of things. So, if there's like a certain verbiage or certain ways you do things, I'm always open to learning. But I also want to give them, an experience that they deserve.
Someone asked,
Sure.
what do you do for a living? Like, and I'm assuming they meant outside of this.
Hmm.
I feel like it's very important, especially for anonymous VAs, to keep their how do you say it? Anonymity? No, that's when you're
Anonymity.
finding email.
Anonymity. Yeah.
Anonymity, yeah. It's very important for them to keep it and like protect it as much as possible. And the less the listeners or even like some of your collaborators know about your real life, the more protected you are, right? Because we're a feral bunch and some of us are actually crazy. In my opinion, it's very important to protect any kind of, like, obviously, maybe you could say your favorite color, but we shouldn't have access to these other things because someone will get attached to it. So, is there anything specific that you wanted to kind of put out there about your boundaries and what's okay to ask and what's not okay to ask?
Yeah, sure. I appreciate that question very much. I'm a fireman, and I work at the firehouse, and it gets really hot.
Subs?
And gets hot and sweaty, and then sometimes I save people who really need saving, and yeah, that's a boundary. That's something that I would actually. That's a trope, so I'm going to add that to the list.
Please do.
Um,
Sorry.
Give me your head! Give me your head! Let go of the dog. I mean, no, I'll save the dog first. But yes, yeah. I mean, my private life is my private life, and Adam has. Adam is more than happy to talk about the Adamverse and this kind of stuff, but like, I actually am a human being that has, a life and friends and family and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's all I'll say about that. So thank you for respecting my sea anemone.
I'm sorry, I forgot how to pronounce anonymity, and I was like, this isn't the right way.
Anemone.
That's anemone.
Zutka?
Zutka
Zutka?
asked you dogs or cats.
Okay.
I think it's Zutka.
I don't think either of them taste good. I'd rather maybe
Oh.
have a sushi. What are you asking me?
They didn't
And
say
literally the question was just
Dogs or
sent in
cats?
with dogs or cats.
Dogs or
That's
cats?
all.
I have a dog and I have a cat.
both. Great.
Okay.
And my place is crazy over here. Yeah, they get along pretty well.
Same person asked you Team Kindle or Team Roman.
Ooh, definitely Team Roman.
My
Interesting.
question was, were you a theater kid?
I did do some. I don't know if I was a theater kid. I did do some like plays and musicals like in high school. Yeah. And I like theater. I like going to theater. I think there's something really nice about theater in terms of like, we are inundated now, especially with AI slop out there. Like, what is real? TV. I mean, I like TV too, but there is something like if you've never been to the theater, like I encourage you to go, like see a show because it's just. I have a couple friends who like work in that world, and it's just really cool to go and see a show, and it's live. It's in front of you. It's happening. It's real. They're like real people on stage doing this stuff. So I think it's cool.
I am a huge like musical nerd, so whenever you started singing Guys and Dolls, I was like, oh my gosh, she's a theater kid. I was so excited.
What are your favorite musicals?
Oh my goodness, I have so many. I'd have to go to my playlist.
Name one or two that you just off the top of your head
So
that you like.
my very first musical that I absolutely loved was Dear Evan Hansen because of the
Okay.
story. I was going through
Yeah.
like a really rough time whenever I was first introduced to it, so I adored it. I love Ben Platt and all of his work. He's such a beautiful singer, and just it really helped me like get through everything that I was going through as well, because it was such a powerful story. And then
Yeah.
of course I love Hadestown. Hadestown is phenomenal.
Hadestown is beautiful. Yeah, I haven't seen Dear Evan Hansen. I'm familiar with the music a little bit, but I haven't seen that. I have seen Hadestown, and that is
Lovely.
like that blew me away. God, that was a beautiful, beautiful show. That music is so good too.
So good. I'm so jealous. Yeah.
What's that song? That song. God, what's that guy's? What that actor? He's got the lowest voice you've ever heard. I forgot what his name is, but he plays Hades.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Oh God, what was his name? I think Patrick something.
Patrick something.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. Hey, little songbird.
Patrick Page,
Give me a
yes, Patrick
song.
Page.
Patrick Page, yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff.
So good.
Fun.
I could talk musicals for hours, so I'm not gonna keep going. But did you also play D&D?
I didn't play it as a kid. I remember seeing my friend's brother had like all the D&D books. And I thought they were super cool. I was more interested in the art than like when you open up a D&D book, there's just a whole bunch of words. And I was like, what the hell is this? I thought it was just gonna be like awesome, like fantasy pictures. So I really liked like the art of the D&D stuff, but I never actually played it as a kid, but I have gotten into it as an adult. Like I said, we were playing, I think it was called Mothership, which is like, it's like a D&D-esque sort of thing. So, you're rolling dice, but you're using Discord to like roll your dice. And then you have
cool.
like my buddy set up like a whole map that was all blacked out. So like when we entered in, we each got to pick a character, and those characters, you rolled the dice to see like what your character's attributes are, blah, blah, blah. And then when you go in, you're like, you role play as that character. And so like, we're all sitting around and we're all, we can all like have a beverage if we like or whatever. And we're playing online. So what I'm looking at is like the Discord, and then I'm also looking at like a whole other window that has the spaceship, but it's, we're just in like the air duct or whatever, the air, whatever it's called, the thing that like connects to the other spaceship. And once that door opens, then we can move into that other place. It's a top down. So we're just seeing that, but we don't know what's going on. And so we all have to work together to figure out and we can do anything, we can ask any question, we can, do anything. And then it's up to the dungeon master to kind of like lead us through this story. So it's actually a lot of fun. I wish I had done it more when I was a kid.
That's so cool. Yeah, no, that sounds super fun. I was curious because I noticed a link between a lot of the voice actors playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like a lot of their experience is Dungeons and Dragons. So I was just curious. I always ask because I want to know.
You mean in real life? Like
like a lot of
they talk about it in their audios, or
no,
they
like in like outside of the audios, like a lot of them play Dungeons and Dragons because it kind of I don't know, it's fun for them.
Once upon a time, there was a decent-sized group of Quinn VAs who did a multi-part D&D game
That's so cool.
that they all like posted on like their Patreons.
Did they do it in character?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
That's so cool.
like it was literally just them playing D&D.
Just them playing. Oh, cool.
That is so
Interesting.
Yeah, and your Monster Mingle was phenomenal, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So that was the sort of, I will do those sorts of things because that was fun, and that was a fun script, and it wasn't like there wasn't like any sex or anything. So that I'm totally comfortable with. So if any other VAs want to do stuff like that, I'd totally be down. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it was so creative. I loved it. Every time a new episode dropped, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to go listen. It was so cool.
Yeah, and that guy reached out to me, and really, really well done. So kudos to him.
Do you think you would ever do any like narrating work?
Like in real life or
Like for
like,
audiobooks
Quinn?
or
Oh yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I mean, I got this set up now, so
yeah.
why not? I don't know if I would do it as Adam Craves. I might do it as my
Something
normal
else,
person,
yeah.
but like, yeah, some other fake name or something. But yeah, I think that would be cool. I think it's probably, I can imagine like reading an entire audiobook. I mean, even just reading, another reason why I kind of make this stuff up is because like if you're reading, I have a tendency to make more mistakes, like if I'm reading something. And so there's more editing time involved. And so even just for that like one story that I did, there were definitely like times when I like messed up. And the nice thing about what she did, with what Kay Rose did, like she would do all of the like the setup and the dialogue that you're hearing, and then at like the naughty parts, there'd be like, and 2 minutes of, sexy time, or like, and this happens, and then this, and so I would be able to improv in there. And then I tossed in the safe word because she had kind of hinted at it, but because we were doing ropes, like I just wanted to make sure that we were definitely like saying that there's a safe word, and if you need to kind of get out of it,
Right.
like you're allowed to do that, which basically means like hitting pause on the actual app. So yeah, yes.
And you mentioned like pulling inspiration just from your day-to-day life, but is there anything that specific that you really draw as inspiration from, like books or, you know, television, anything like that?
Not really. Not really books. I tend to read more. I probably tend to read less fiction
Mm.
than I do like nonfiction. Um, so yeah, I mean, I guess if I saw something that might be interesting, like um, I saw like a meme. I don't. Are they? Maybe you can answer me. This is, of course, I'm like dating myself. So if I see like just a picture of something on the internet,
Mm.
and it just maybe has like a little story or something underneath, is that a meme?
Yeah, I mean, technically, yeah.
What the fuck is it?
Yeah,
What
it's still a meme.
can any? Okay, it's still a meme. All right. So I've seen some memes. Oh my god. Um, like old man, fucking old man. Yeah. So sometimes I saw something today and I like reposted it on my Instagram, and I was like, gotta keep that in mind. But it wasn't necessarily like it was just like a moment. It wasn't necessarily like a trope or a theme or something.
Mhm.
But I mean, honestly, I do get inspired by my listeners, and if they comment on something that I put up, or if I ask them a question, I certainly have inspiration that way.
Mm.
And yeah, I think, you know, life is, if you're looking around, can be very creative, and it can give you kind of everything you need. And yeah,
No, that's awesome. I love how creative you are, because a lot of people can't do that, especially me. Like, I would never be able to do something like that. Just come up with stories or whatever just off of, like, one little thing that I saw. That's just so, I love that. That's so cool.
are you a writer too, or is it the other two that are
So
writers?
the other two are writers. I'm just an artist.
Okay.
I get really inspired
Just an
by
artist.
books and, you know, a
Okay.
lot of stories and audio erotica. Like, I love when people put stories into their work. I love drawing it out and all sorts of things. I was working on drawing the characters to Monster Mingle and all that. I haven't finished
Oh,
yet,
cool.
but I will at some point. And I'll make sure to
Nice.
tag you and your character. But I guess we
Yeah,
could play
that would be awesome.
one more round of the game, and then we can just call it a day. We answered all of the
Okay.
questions. So,
Were those all the questions? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
yep, yep.
Let's do perky.
Oh, no, so-
Perky. Okay.
Okay. Let's go taxi driver.
Oh God.
Perky taxi driver. Okay. And then what is that one? Ah, I said that
Yes.
too.
I
My
really
lord,
hope
that's so
no
funny.
taxi driver ever says this to anyone.
What was that from? Jeez,
Next
weird.
time, I'm going to put the audios that I took it from.
Hey, I won't bite, but, I could. Where you going? It's gonna be like $57 to get down there. Okay, look, I could do it. I could bite you, but, watch out. You know, they used to call me Mr. Bitey. Nobody actually calls me that.
All right. Well, it has been a pleasure having you.
Yeah,
And
thanks so
thank
much.
you to all of the listeners who came from Adam's base as well as our own. Enjoy you guys so much. Leave comments down below. You can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, stuff like that. Episode 4 is coming up soon, and we have one of your favorites, Alice the VA, will be gracing us. But yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on and tolerating our chaos over here. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hi everyone, it's Manda here. Just wanted to quickly say thank you so much for tuning in each week. It has meant the world to me and the PlapCast team. We are going behind the scenes of audio erotica and separating the voice actor from the voice and getting to know their personalities and why they do what they do. I just wanted to quickly say, next week we have a very talented voice actor joining us, Alice, the VA herself. She is such a sweet human, and I can't wait to meet her and get to know her like you guys will too. I hope you guys enjoy the podcast, and I can't wait to see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.